'Twas a long time ago, longer now than it seems, in a place that perhaps you've seen in your dreams. For the story that you are about to be told took place in the holiday worlds of old.
Man, those earlier Halloweens really hit different, didn't they? Hey, what's up everybody? Nick here, and today I wanted to take a trip down memory lane. You know, with it being October now and Halloween right around the corner, I've been thinking about fond memories of this time of year and thinking about how things used to be. And I feel like we as humans, as we get older, we always do that. We're kind of comparing and contrasting our current situations to ones we used to be in. And I mean, that's nostalgia. You're holding on to things that used to mean a lot to you, and you remember those things, and they mean a lot. And then you also get sad because you remember that it's never going to be that way again. But that's kind of the beauty of memories. So today I kind of wanted to just take that trip down memory lane, dig into some nostalgia, talk about the 90s and early 2000s with Halloween and what it was like and some of my memories. And then I want to hear down below some of your guys's as well. So let me paint a picture for you guys. Do you remember what it was like being in school and it's Halloween and everybody got to dress up, but you couldn't wear a mask? At least at my school you couldn't. You could do everything but wear a mask. And there were, snacks and treats, and you got to watch a movie, and it was just a different kind of day. Nobody was really focused on the schoolwork. We were all focused on the fact that we were going to get to go home and trick or treat and watch scary movies and just, have fun, be a kid, dress up as something that we're not. And that was really cool to us. I remember those days. I remember what that used to be like. And I remember going home and just being so excited. I wanted to go trick-or-treating like immediately. And I couldn't go yet. I wasn't allowed to go yet. You had to go at 6 o'clock. And I just could not wait. And I think back to those Halloween parties at school and just, miss it. I miss it. And I think I took it for granted at the time. But I also remember the month. Just the entire month. Do you remember going to the store and you'd see those high C's, the frightening fruit punch? I vividly remember those. Now, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I don't think they sell those anymore. Maybe they do, and if they do, I'm totally going to buy some this year. But I remember those. My mom never let us have high C. She just would not let us have it. She was very weird about that. We couldn't drink pop, we couldn't drink soda to some of you guys. We couldn't drink those juice boxes, she just didn't do that. But in October, she'd buy us those frightening fruit punch high C's because why not? We were kids. They were Halloween themed. We wanted them. Do you remember going to the store and seeing Mountain Dew Pitch Black? Came out every October, and I just remember when you would start to see those on the shelves, you knew that it was Halloween time. That was just something that you were like, okay, here we go. And it was black and purple, and it felt like Halloween. Now, obviously, Mountain Dew does voodoo now, and, that's cool. It's great, but nothing will ever compare to Pitch Black, especially when it was a yearly tradition in the fall. Do you remember getting those popcorn balls when you'd go trick-or-treating and they were in a bag? And I swear to God, I never saw those anywhere. I never saw those at the store. That was never something that I just munched on for fun. Except on Halloween. I would always get one. And I'd be like, dude, this is the gnarliest creation in the world. Do you remember those candy cigarettes? Back when big tobacco still was, kind of in before, everybody turned on it. And rightfully so. And we as kids would pretend we were smoking and we'd eat them and then pretend we were smoking again. And it was so cool to teach kids that smoking was cool, right? I'm kidding, YouTube. I'm being sarcastic here, okay? Do not demonetize the video. I remember one of my favorite things about going trick-or-treating when I was a kid was that a lot of people in my neighborhoods, wherever I lived, would always set up a haunted house or a trail. They would really do it up. And I thought that was really cool because we never did that for my house. We had very simplistic decorations. My mom, being very religious, we weren't allowed to go all out like that. She thought it was evil. Not Halloween, but overdoing it was evil. I mean, make it make sense, but whatever. But I remember being able to go up to a house to trick or treat, and there would be this maze that they had created or these pop-up scares, and I thought that was really cool. Nowadays you have that with animatronics and stuff, and they give you the pop out and jump thing, and oh my god, but nothing can really recreate what it was like to have somebody in a coffin on their porch, and you go up to the door and ring the doorbell, and this person gets up out of the coffin. I had that exact thing happen to me, and it was just those kind of things were so cool. Or somebody running around and chasing you with a chainsaw, obviously with no chain on it and everything like that. But like that was really cool to me too. My friend's dad did that. He would like set up all of these like clotheslines with like bed sheets and stuff and would dress up like Leatherface and just pop out and like chase people with a chainsaw. That kind of stuff. Like that kind of stuff, you lose that as you get older. You know, like obviously we don't trick or treat anymore. We shouldn't. And if you are, you need to talk to somebody, okay? But like you miss that. You miss what that was like. Halloween has morphed for us. I remember coming home from school and turning on AMC Fear Fest every day, starting from October 1st when I got home from school. That is assuming my older brother would let me watch the TV if he wasn't playing Xbox or whatever. But luckily for me, he played football, so he was usually at practice right after school, so I could come home and I could watch at least one movie or one special. And the ones I always gravitated towards were obviously like the Halloween movies and horror movies, but, you know, in my younger years, it was stuff like Scary Godmother. I don't know if any of you guys have seen Scary Godmother, but I loved this thing. I ate it up. I watched both of them. Now, maybe there's more now, but when I was younger, there were two of them. And I watched them every year. Halloween Town. All of the Halloween Town movies, except The Return to Halloween Town, which came out when I was in junior high, and I remember them marketing it and being a big deal. And it was not even the same Marnie, so I was like, okay, whatever. And it was just cringy. I watched it one time and it was terrible. But I remember watching those. You know, it's The Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. That is still a staple for me. And I've shown that to my son, and I've tried to make that a staple for him as well. I remember watching all that stuff. I remember watching Goosebumps. I remember seeing these Halloween-themed commercials, whether it was for candy, you know, like M&M's or Reese's, like all of that stuff. I ate that stuff up. And at the time, I was just enamored. Like I was engulfed in what was happening around me. You know, the season was in full swing and the hype for the holiday could never be higher. And everybody was so excited, and myself included. But I didn't really realize at the time that like one day, all of that was going to fade and all of that was going to go away. And Halloween was going to drastically change for me. And it did for all of us. You know, as we get older, we lose the trick-or-treating and, the ding-dong ditching and TPing houses. Yes, I did both. And the Halloween parties and watching all your Cartoon Network specials and whatnot. Like, all of that stuff is gone. And what it has become as an adult is like, okay, I'm going to watch these horror movies now. And you still decorate and you still immerse yourself in everything that the holiday has to offer that is acceptable for you as an adult now. And it's different. You know, like now as an almost 30-year-old, I can't dress up like a Power Ranger and just like go around. Like, I mean, I guess I could, but like I don't do that anymore. But that was a staple for me. From like age 4 to like 7, for like 4 Halloweens in a row, I was a different kind of Power Ranger. I remember going to Halloween Express one year. And my mom didn't take us till like really, really late in the season. It was like the week of Halloween. So, you know, it was slim pickings. And the only Power Ranger costume, and I had told myself I was going to be the Red Ranger. He was my favorite. You know, he was the leader. I don't know. I loved the Red Ranger. And the only one they had left was the Yellow Power Ranger. And I didn't care. Because I love Power Rangers so much that I was like, we're doing the Yellow Ranger. I don't care. Because yellow is not a girl color anyway, dude. It's just a color. I love yellow. It's my second favorite color after purple. I know. What does that say about me? I just feel like things were different back then. Like they were different in the sense of, yes, of course, I was living through it and I have fond memories of it because it was happier years of my life, you know, my childhood. But I feel like they were different in the sense that I feel like people just did it up more, you know, like Halloween was a bigger deal, I feel like back then, in the sense of like all of these companies, you know, the McDonald's Boo Buckets, which they ended up bringing back, but they were gone for years. And like I said, the High Seas and the Pitch Blacks of the world, like it just seemed like Halloween was like part of us as a society. Like it was in our DNA, like everything morphed in October to reflect that time of year. And I just don't feel like that's the same anymore. I don't feel like those traditions are the same anymore. And, you don't even have AMC's Fear Fest anymore. I don't believe. And if you do, I know it's not called that. Or maybe it was Monster Fest. I can't even remember. I think it was Fear Fest. I think it was Fear Fest because I lived by Kings Island like my entire life. And it used to be called Fear Fest before they changed it to Halloween Haunt. And I remember being like, oh, Fear Fest, wow, that's wild. I feel like it's important to reflect on those times and to remember those times and think about them fondly. I really do feel like that's important because they are good memories. It's sad that they're not that they're just memories and that they're not going to be the future for us, but we can hold on to those things for as long as we live. That's why every time you see an Instagram reel or a TikTok where it's, you know, that music, and it's showing a bunch of photos of Halloween from, you know, yesteryears, and it makes you feel emotional. That's why, because we didn't really realize what it was like at the time. And if you didn't live, you know, if you didn't grow up in the 90s and early 2000s, like, you just, you know, you don't know. But I can tell you it was such a better time for Halloween. It just really was. But again, I'm biased because that was my childhood and I have so many fond memories of that. And it's not to say that Halloween isn't still special, because it absolutely is. But I just feel like back then, when you're a kid and you're experiencing all these things for the first time, and certain things become, I don't know, almost like a part of your routine every year, and they just become part of who you are. One year that just stops and you don't even really realize it's happening. And I promise you one day you'll look back and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I let that get away. Like, I didn't even realize when the last one was. But it's crazy to think back on, because I feel like a lot of you guys that watch me are around my age, if not older. And I think that this time of year is always bittersweet, in the sense of, like, we still love Halloween. We decorate, we watch the movies, we live for this. Like, we live for it. But we also think back to those times, and we think about, I don't know, just the memories, and how much it was easier back then, how times were simpler, and how we kind of took some stuff for granted. So I don't know. I guess this was just a hit of nostalgia for you guys, you know, to talk about the 90s and Halloween and growing up. And I just kind of jog your memories on some stuff, give you guys some stuff that I remember really enjoying and loving around that time of year. And hopefully you had mental images of those things and you were like, oh my God, yeah, I remember that. I remember that show. I remember that snack. Halloween was just different. And as much as I love it today, it's never going to reach those heights that it did in the late 90s and early 2000s for me. So enjoy this month while you can, guys, especially if you're younger and you still do some of those things and you still have some of those same routines. Really live it up and enjoy it, because one day it's not going to be the same and you're going to want to go back. Trust me. I can tell you that from experience. But to all of us that are my age or around my age or older, let's live it up as best we can with what we do now. You know, let's start new traditions, and let's not take any October for granted, because we love this time of year so much. We don't know when it's going to be our last one. And you don't ever want to feel like you skimped, you know, that you kind of cut corners. You get 31 days to watch these things, to do these things, to go to these events. Do it. Watch it. Live it up. It's Halloween. It's great. You can always make the best out of it, no matter how old you are. So I want to hear down below what you guys have to say about this video. What do you think about some of these things I shared with you? Do you have memories from the 90s and early 2000s of Halloween that you want to share with me? Because I want to hear it. So sound off in the comment section below. Please leave a like on this video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks for stopping at the Lost River Drive-In and taking a trip down memory lane with me. This is Nick, and I'm pulling out.